thank you, Joe. Usually you've got a bit of time to sort of sit down and just take stock of things. But so yes, I'm Jo Platt. I'm not sure if many of you know, but I'm busy on a campaign trail, but I'm not going to go into that because that's not the time and place. But for the past 4 years, I've been the general manager of Leigh Spinners Mill. So I think it's up to me to say a big warm welcome to everybody here to Leigh Spinners. It's been, I'll catch my breath. I should have ran up those stairs. But it's been a long 4 years, and it has been blood, sweat and tears, and Joe can lay testament to that. But it is, and I will say this, and I always say this, because it isn't about me being general manager. It isn't about the charity itself or the trustees that have managed that. It is about the tenants that are in this mill. That's what makes this project and this mill absolutely blooming brilliant. And one of them tenants is Northwest Computer Museum. And obviously Joe's dream obviously didn't start with the mill, it came a long time before, and that's when I met Joe, when I was in the other job, and Joe came to see me in the office, and he sat down and he said, I've got this fantastic idea. Obviously his passion and his dream, and he wanted to put it into fruition. And I had to talk him out of going to Wigan, because he's a Leigh man, not originally, but you're adopted, so it's fine. And obviously for something so brilliant as Joe's idea, we wanted it here in Leigh, and I think it's just so important for me to go into the politics with a small p, because it's so important to basically garner that support and interest for our young people to get involved in tech, old and new. And to understand our future tech, we've got to understand what's gone before. There's always a journey, and Joe absolutely embodies that. And with the Computer Museum, when you walk round, and I'm sure everybody here has at some point, you see young and old in there, and that is just absolutely fantastic. If governments and politicians could bottle that, obviously it would be a very, very high price. But somebody like Joe absolutely gets it, and it takes a community project such as Northwest Computer Museum to be able to do that. It's not come from on high. Nobody has given him a load of money to be able to do that. He has just done it off his own back, and that bottom-up approach is basically what politicians and governments should basically be supporting and enabling. And I think this is what this whole mill project is. As I say, it's not about somebody who's given somebody a load of money to be able to do this. This is a real community bottom-up approach in giving space and opportunity for businesses and organisations to thrive. So I'm immensely proud to be here, and thank you to Joe for inviting me. So obviously this event was organised before a general election was called. But it's just important for me to be here, and Joe knows whatever happens on July the 4th, I'm going to always be here. My heart's always going to be here, and I'm always going to support Joe in the Northwest Computer Museum. I will like to do a little bit of housekeeping though as well, because we have got so many other fantastic organisations here in the mill, and if you haven't been already, we've got a fantastic heritage centre on floor 1 where obviously you can see the history and get a guided tour from some of our expert volunteers with regards to how it all started. And then obviously as you go up the floors, we've got a sports floor on floor 2, we've got small businesses as you on floor 3 as you are here now, and we're in the amazing Supernatural Diaries theatre in this fabulous stage and bar that has just been built and upgraded. So again, just giving that opportunity for organisations such as Supernatural Diaries, and Anthony that's been very shy in the doors over there. Give a wave, Anthony. And then floor 4, you've got arts and culture. So please do have a walk around, and we know that we've got some artists and some open doors. So have a chat with some of our tenants in here and talk about their journey as well, because everybody's got their own personal journey. And then floor 5 is just being built as we speak. It should have been ready for a launch, which is on June the 15th. But we're not quite there. Just in basically, project management is not going to go onto my CV, not when you're dealing with contractors. But it's going to be ready very, very soon. But June the 15th is the launch of the whole of the mill, because we've not really celebrated what we've got in here and the vast amount of tenants that we've got in here. So you're all welcome to attend on June the 15th, where you can meet some more of our wonderful tenants. But I think that's it from me, Joe, and I think it's over to you. I cannot thank you for what you have done, not just obviously for Leigh, for the borough and and regionally as well. You've really put us on the map, and we just need to celebrate that and, you know, watch you grow from strength to strength. I know Joe's put another bid in for a full floor over there in the other mill, and I actually see you achieving that, Joe. So to you, Helen, all your volunteers, thank you.
You can tell who's done speeches before, can't you? I'm not very good at this, so I'm going to be humming and hawing, so please bear with me. One of the questions I tend to get asked a lot is, why? Why did I do it? Well, I was in a fortunate position where I started technology in basically 1979, when the school bought a Tandy TRS-80 Model 1. And it was quite funny at the time, because the teachers absolutely no idea of computers, and what they were doing was they were reading the paragraph, teaching the kids the paragraph. Well, guess what? We were 14-year-old lads. We were racing past there. We ended up teaching the teachers. So I went through the amazing time of when computers were changing literally every year, and they were doubling in power and so on. But the future generation, they're actually also in a fortunate position as well, because we get a lot of schools coming to the museum. And one of the things I always say to the kids is that you're in a position where you've got virtual reality, artificial intelligence, 3D printing. Your imagination is your limit, and that in the museum is how we're trying to push it across. So kids, I mean, one of my worries of the museum was, would kids enjoy it? Wasn't a worry I should have had, because kids do love it as well. And one of the chaps today is going to be doing a talk is Bart. Bart's a friend of mine who I've known for over 6 years. Bart opened the Home Computer Museum in the Netherlands, and I went to his grand opening 6 years ago. It was more determination for me, because I loved what Bart had done in his museum, and I wanted it here. Now, when I first had the idea, we did a pop-up museum in Wigan Town Centre, and we were open 8 days, and we had 600 people coming in through the doors. So I thought, yep, it's definitely got some legs with this. So anyhow, one of the things which we tried to do, we tried to get funding from the council, and unfortunately it fell on deaf ears. And there was one year, it was about 2020, and they did funding for young people and digital. We didn't get it. And the reason we didn't get it is because it was not young person friendly. And the person who was telling me, she was trying to explain it. Well, you know, when you're listening to someone and you can actually hear in the voice that they actually don't even believe what they're saying. So anyhow, I said, what's the second reason? Because there were 2 reasons. I said, what's the second reason? She said, you're not long term. Well, guess what? 12 months later, I'm still here, and it's going strength from strength to strength. We're getting more schools involved, we're getting more people, and when you go up to the museum later, there's a little map of the world, and in the map, it's all the people who have come from different places. Furthest is Australia. In fact, there's one chap who came from California. He was a St. Helens guy who's made it big, who made it big in the software industry, and he went to live in California. And he's been following us since we first started this idea. And he came, he said, my brother thinks I've come to see him. No, I've come to see you guys. But anyhow, everybody we've had into the museum have absolutely loved it, and some of the references we've had, the reviews we've had have just been amazing. It has been a struggle on times. In fact, I'll tell you all, before we were open, the October before we were open, the big desks in the middle with all the computers on, I was being hit by problems from left, right, I was being hit from all sides. And I was sat on the floor, putting the carpet tiles down. And we've all done it, we've all hit the wall. I hit the wall because I said to myself, it's never going to open, And I left for a few days. Well, I came back with even more determination. So this is where we are today. Thank you for listening. One thing I am going to do is, does anybody have any questions?
What's the looking for the proposal Leigh just mentioned?
Sorry?
What's the basic just bring for the other mill?
Well, you've all been into the museum. We've outgrown it now. After 12 months, we've outgrown it. There's more ideas what we've got, or what I've got, and what volunteers have put in. We want bigger space, we want a bigger VR, we want bigger 70s, we want a bigger 80s, we want more educational rooms. I mean, we were offered some of the old IBM machines from the 70s, the big machines, but we've got nowhere to put them. So we want bigger space. So what I'm going to do, it's not really a floor, because I couldn't afford a floor, unless I can have it the same price.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you all heard it. So I think what we're going to aim for is probably 6 of what we've got now, which is probably about half a floor. But one thing which I'd like to do, and it depends on legal and insurance and all that, is the size of our unit as a racetrack. Can you imagine that? But it's a racetrack for the C5s. So, thank you. So it was the only C5 racetrack in the world. But we're also doubling it up as well, because isn't there a game where you can actually race karts in a game? Mario. So we might actually do that as well. But on the walls, we're actually going to do some history as well. So when they're going round it, how fast do C5s go?
Depends how fast you can pedal, really.
That's true. In my case, 2 miles an hour. I can actually read all the history of the C5s and the electric cars. So, sorry, you had a question?
Just plans for the next year, basically.
To be honest with you, what we're aiming now is we're going for more education, and I want to do more courses in the evenings as well. Because one of the things what we want to do, because one of our volunteers is starting to do software, so he's going to start training adults in the software industry. I'm just developing a little computer, basically, what you can build yourself using breadboards. So 6502 processor with memory, I/O, and so on. So you can actually, especially young people, can actually see what a processor does and what ports they're using. So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of months. Oh, we're also having Steve Ferber couldn't make it today because he's got family. He's out with the family, but he has actually said he is interested in doing a night with Steve. So we might watch the film Micro Men, and Steve will come out and have a chat about Micro Men. But unfortunately, it's going to be probably an adult one because, as you know, Micro Men, Sinclair was not a how do I put this in there? He swore a lot, didn't he? Any other questions?
Yeah, when did you start collecting the computers and how did you get all the computers you've got up there?
When I mean, I'm going to give you something going back 17 years, and I'm a bit embarrassed about this, so please don't throw anything at me. I had a Commodore PET in the attic with a disk drive, and it all worked. And I took it down now to the attic. I thought, am I ever going to use this? You know what I'm going to say, though, yeah. I skipped the whole lot. I know. Boo. But anyhow, it's when I had the idea. Well, it was before I had the idea. I was buying a couple of machines here and there because I love old tech, as we all do. And I'm sorry to say it to Sinclair people, but I am a Commodore man.
We'll forgive you.
Thank you, thank you. So when I first came up with the idea, I had roughly about 60 computers. So I thought I could fill the one room, but not the other rooms. So I thought,
The wife complains when you fill too many rooms.
well, actually, when at home, she was getting a bit upset with me. In fact, let me just give you a little story. You're looking at a chap who was live on BBC Breakfast. I had a phone call from BBC and they said, we'd like to do a piece on you, but it's going to be live on Monday. So they had to be here for 5 o'clock. So anyhow, my wife, Helen, who's behind the counter, she was laughing her head off at me. And I said to the presenter, I said, do you know what, it'd be a good idea to get the other side of the story. He said, what do you mean? I said, where these computers were before we had the museum. He said, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Do you think your wife would be up for it? I said, yes. I won't tell you what she told me to do. So, yeah, we were live on BBC Breakfast. And to be honest with you, as much as it was so scary to do it, because I'm thinking, if one of these machines goes pop, I might swear on live TV. But anyhow, it didn't happen. But we did the live, and then we had to do some recordings. I am feeling like a celebrity. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyhow, so at the end of it, he says, I can tell you now. I said, tell me what? He said, you was watched by 10 million people. Yes, I said, I'm glad you didn't tell me at first, because I didn't sleep that night before, so you can imagine what I'd be like. Any other questions? Go on, don't be shy.
Well, I'm still getting the free drink.
I'll ask a pop price.
And a lolly.
What's like in the last year? What's the sort of the biggest deal computer-wise that you've added to the museum? So you know, like nicest or rarest piece of kit.
There was a chap who thought, well, no, he emailed me first, and there was a chap from Warrington, Mark, and he sent me an email saying, do you want an Apple Lisa? And I remember seeing this email, and I'm jumping up and down, saying, yes, please! But trying to send an email when you're doing that is not really easy. So anyhow, I sent an email, and he brought it over. And I said, because to be honest with you, I'm quite honest with anybody who brings machines over. And I said, you do know how much these are worth, don't you? And he said, yeah, but coming to North West Computer Museum or any museum, you know, like that, is that it's going to be looked after, it's going to be cared for, and people can actually use it. And when people are saying that, it's an honour. In fact, there's another exhibition by Mel Groucho. I don't know if you've seen it. He phoned me and he said, I'd like to dedicate or donate my life's work to you. And when someone says that to you, it's sort of like, with all the bad things what's happening in the world, you have the faith back in human nature comes back, and I said it would be an honour. And so obviously when you go back into the museum, have a little look at it, because it is quite interesting. Just to let you know, Pete Lomas, who's coming today, he's going to be a bit late, so he is still coming. Unfortunately, the Oliver twins couldn't make it. They told me at the last minute that they thought it was North West London.
Geography isn't their strong point.
So, but They will come and do a little talk one day. But Steve Ferber, as I said, we're going to be doing an evening with him. So, any other questions?
You told us about next year's plan. What's your 5-year plan?
Well, the 5-year plan is moving. So we will be moving into the other mill because it's going to be about 5 years before that will be built.
Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think things are on the up.
But don't say anything. But when they have plans here, add another 6 months to it. I mean, that and the whole mill maybe another 5 years.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
So yeah, my plans for the next 5 years is to get to expand into the new premises and basically get more exhibitions. In fact, one of the things which, as you've seen in the museum, the VR room was actually going to be a 70s, 80s office, so you can actually see how technology changed in the 2 decades. And the arcade was going to be an 80s bedroom. And when we did the soft opening last year, I wanted to talk to you guys and say, right, do you think this was a good idea? And most people said, yeah, it would be, but we'd only be in it for once, and that's probably it. So I needed something to use the music, the size of the museum what we've got, to put something what people would continue going in. So yeah, 5-year plan is more schools and to build up and to move into next premises. Any other questions? What's going on here?
I just want to keep you talking. So you said the best thing that you've had like in the last year or whatever. What would be the one thing if you could get that you don't have currently that you want?
Do you know, it's been a bugbear of mine because one of the machines which I haven't got, and I should have it, and just don't tell Barty, I think he's got about 4 of them, but he won't bring one tools. Is a Acorn Atom. I mean, there's other machines what I'd like, but unfortunately they're quite valuable, like Amiga 1000, 3000, 4000, or you know, if you have one of them on eBay, they're going for thousands now. So, any other questions? Right, I'm finished.